Orange Beach, Alabama, around this time 3 years ago. We were renting a condo and we loved being there. We were at the pool almost every day, but we did go to the beach several times too, whether it was just to walk around or whether it was to swim, build sandcastles, whatever. There was this one particular day we were there, June 22nd. The day was beautiful. We had so much fun at the beach that day. We were building sandcastles. We were playing in the water. Not so much, though. We would only go to the super shallow where the water was just coming up into the sand. We wouldn't really go much further in, at least not me and the kids. My husband did venture out a little bit further, but not too far because the currents were pretty strong. And the wind picked up towards later in the evening. Like around 5:30, we start packing up our stuff, our little beach dome tent. It was so windy. My husband was telling us to go to the truck in the parking and to like start getting ready to go in the car, and he would pack up the rest. So me and the kids did that. We grabbed whatever we could carry. He was 6 and she was 4. So they could only carry so much, right? So they carried as much as they could. I carried what I could. We hosed ourselves off from the sand and got to our truck. But as we just got settled into the truck, we're still waiting on him, and like as it's getting windier, the sand is kind of like blowing all up in our faces. I start getting this super heavy feeling inside of my body. I can't even describe it. It was an anxiety attack. It was about to turn into a panic attack because I was like freaking out physically, mostly in my head, but it started showing in my body too. I was starting to shake, and as we're sitting in the truck, like I got everything packed up and everything before it started raining and pouring, but as we got settled, I saw an ambulance pull up, and I heard it first, and then I saw it pull up into the parking lot that we were in, and my heart dropped because in my heart, I knew that my husband had something to do with the ambulance being there, or else my body wouldn't respond the way that it was, because I had already done EMDR, a round of EMDR with my first or second therapist that I was seeing ever, and I'd processed a lot, so I knew like what my trauma response was. I knew how it manifested in my body, and so I knew that somehow he was involved with this ambulance ride. So I started shaking, and I didn't know like what to do at this point. But something told me that I had to go back and look for him or make sure he was okay or check on him or whatever. Like I had to leave this truck with my kids and go make sure he's okay. And in the meantime, while I'm doing that, I see a little girl running around in the parking lot, and this little girl was on the beach, like stationed pretty much where we were, just a few feet away with her mom and her sister the entire time that we were at the beach. And all of a sudden I see the older one of the two running around in the parking lot all by herself, shivering, like holding herself, like shivering, screaming for either her sister or her mom. And I got out of the truck and I'm like, are you okay? Are you looking like, do you need to stay with me? Like until you find your family, what's going on? So we did eventually find the car where her family was. I don't know how she got lost in that parking lot, but it scared the you know what out of me. So that was one thing. And then I took the kids and I had to go back to the beach to find out what was going on because I couldn't handle the panic that was in my body. So we get back to the beach, and sure enough, just as I thought, my husband was involved, but not in the way that I imagined in my head. He wasn't the one that needed the ambulance. It was actually because he was helping someone who needed the ambulance. So when we got there, he kind of ushered me and the kids to turn back around and go back to the truck, and that he would be there as soon as he could. He said that once we went back to the truck, that shortly after, he heard someone in the water calling for help, and it was like a younger boy, like a teenager, and he saw a man swimming towards them, which, you know, obviously the dad was trying to save his son because the currents were really strong. And in the meantime, I don't know what happened, but I think my husband and all these other people were watching this. Not all these other people. I think maybe it was just my husband and maybe one or two other people that were watching, and he said that everyone else kind of ignored the situation. They would maybe look up, but they were on their phones, distracted, and didn't really clock as to what was happening. So my husband and whoever else did see it jumped in because they saw that there was distress happening and this boy was screaming for help still. And when they got to him and his dad, he said that the dad was like already starting to turn colors. And him and the other person, I don't know if it was two other people or just him and one other person, I think the adrenaline kicked in for them and they just did what they felt like they had to do. The next day we did read news reports about it, and unfortunately he didn't make it. I've thought about them since this incident from time to time because I have kids and I lost a dad when I was in my 20s. Like, think about those kids a lot. I think he had two kids. It wasn't just a son he was saving. I think he had a daughter too. And I just would like them to know, like, we think about you and you're in our hearts. It was just like weighing heavy on me, and I just had to like get it out, so I did. But there's been other instances, like he used to work for like a clothes recycling thing, and he would pick up stuff in those clothes donation bins, and he'd get approached by people for things. One time when he worked that job, he found a dog near one of those bins, and I think this dog like ran up to him, and I don't even think it had a collar, but I remember he sent me pictures of it. It was like a mutt. It was like a German Shepherd mutt, or German Shepherd mix, I'm not sure, but yeah, he found a shelter that was open because it was kind of later in the evening already, but he found a place that would be able to take him and help him overnight because we were not in a position to keep a dog, especially not that size, because we were living in a much smaller space. But yeah, I don't know. I don't talk about him a lot because he's a very private person, and he's not online, and he chooses not to be, and that's who he is, and I love that about him because he's not, like, he doesn't care about that stuff, but he supports me, and he supports whatever like I want to do, which I love, and he's always been there for me. And I guess I just wanted to do like a little appreciation post about him because he's a great person, but I also needed to process that event because it weighed heavy on me, and I think I felt that in my body, like I might lose him, and I wasn't ready for that because the panic that I felt that day was like, I don't think I felt that since I lost my dad, to be honest with you. Like, it was pretty strong panic that I felt in my body. Thank you for listening. Blah, blah, blah.